Hi, and welcome to the Growing Solar Podcast. I'm Matt Rea, your host, and today we have a special guest joining us who has a number of years of experience in both solar and marketing. So I'm really excited to have a conversation with him. Would like to introduce everyone to David Murphy. David, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. My pleasure. Great to be here.
Yeah, well, so just a little intro, and then maybe you can build from there. Obviously, I know you've been in marketing for over 15 years now, which is really awesome, and I'm personally really excited to talk to you, being a fellow marketing professional. But you've also been involved in solar, so really at the crossroads of where we want to be. So can you speak a little bit to your experience in marketing and how you eventually got into solar?
Yeah, gladly. So it started way back when. No, I was lucky enough in the late 90s, early 2000s when the internet was just starting to boom. I was lucky enough to be with a really large, actually the largest domain name registrar and website hosting company. Started in their sales department and then moved into what was online marketing, which is brand new back then. And it's incredibly cool to be at the very beginnings of the internet and the very beginnings of online marketing. My role was managing an over $2 million budget for online ads. And what was really, really cool is being able to test different types of creative and see the results immediately. With those online ads, we got to test different calls to actions, colors, animations, and just really see what works with our audience. So it was a really cool time in marketing to be, especially in online marketing, and to see how people's behaviors and what they reacted to in terms of our marketing pieces.
Gotcha. So really kind of like the psychology behind marketing, behind how people actually interact with ads and stuff like that. It's more of that creative kind of what that neural marketing piece that I think a lot of marketers feel similar about.
Definitely, yes.
So I guess, and then from there, how did you kind of evolve into the solar industry and your involvement in the solar industry? How did that come about?
Yeah, well, I came from this internet infrastructure. There I moved into software, networking, a lot of technology companies. And with solar growing at the rate that it was and is, it just fascinated me. I love to geek out, if you will, over solar and just thinking today, the sun is shining and it's producing energy for cars and homes and businesses. And the sun's going to shine again tomorrow and the next day, and it's going to continue doing that. And we were able to harvest that sun for powering all kinds of different things. It continues to blow my mind.
Right.
So I knew I wanted to get into solar, and about seven years ago, was able to make the leap.
Gotcha. Can you talk a little bit about some of your marketing that's specific to solar that you've done? Start there.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to not transitioning into the solar world. I was able to then work closely, really closer than I ever had, with a sales team. Before it was a lot of marketing for marketing's purposes, putting out a brochure, updating a website, but it was really siloed. Coming into the solar world is I got the chance to work hand in hand with the sales team. Is a term I think is used too often, but it really does apply, is enabling the sales team. What do you need to have those conversations with installers? What questions are they asking that we can help answer? What can we do to help you close more business and generate more revenue?
Right.
So it was a lot more of marketing for demand generation, for lead generation, for actually to be held accountable for revenue.
Right. Yeah. And if you're talking about some of these larger solar companies, you've got a big sales team, and marketing is a growth engine, but it also needs to be hand in hand with sales. A lot of my past experience, I've found that the tighter the relationship is between sales and marketing, the better you're going to be, because you've got sales reps who are kind of trying to talk to your customers. And if you've got marketing also sending them messaging that isn't aligned, or the sales reps don't really know what's going on, that's not going to start you off on the right foot. So definitely a lot of similar thought process there of trying to really pull those teams closer together and really create kind of a synergistic value for both.
Yeah, it has to be hand in hand.
Absolutely. So I guess, what we're really here to talk about is within marketing, referrals, right? So referral is, as simple as it's when one of your customers recommends your product or service to one of their friends, colleagues, a family member, right? So what we're going to talk about is really referral marketing. How do you maximize that with your marketing efforts? And the reason that referrals work so well is it's usually a pretty low cost initiative to put in place, as opposed to some of this more expensive, paid social advertising and digital advertising. The costs continue to rise, right? Content marketing and inbound marketing, it's still obviously a huge opportunity, but it's getting more crowded. So how can you actually make immediate impact? If I'm an installer, I don't have a huge budget for marketing. So one thing that I think installers can really take from this is use your already, committed customer base to pull in referrals. And yeah, so it works really well because you're really leaning on the trust that these customers already have with their friends and family, and you're leveraging that to your own benefit and bringing in new customers that way. So, I don't know if you have anything to add there. I know we've got some slides we want to jump into as well around referral marketing. So I'll let you kind of take it from here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think referrals is something that I've really studied for many years now, going back to my days working with software resellers, which are small businesses, just like solar installers are small businesses. And one thing I found is the mechanics of marketing are pretty much the same no matter what type of business you are. The mechanics I use with installers are the same mechanics with software people. So a lot of it carries over, which I really, really like. And one thing that holds true is anytime I ask a solar installer, any small business at all, what's your number one source of new business? And the answer is almost always referrals or word of mouth. And then as a marketer, my next question is, great, what are you doing to get more? And that's usually where the conversation stops, is they didn't know, like, well, what do you mean? What am I doing to get more? I just get them. Okay, but just like marketing, it should be a system. You should be able to duplicate that system. Just like you duplicate ads, it's another marketing vehicle that we can duplicate. It just needs a system to be put in place for that. So what I've done is outline the 5 basic steps that I found most helpful in working with literally hundreds of businesses on how to design, implement, and track a referral system.
Gotcha. So let's pop up these slides here, and then we can kind of go through them a little bit more in depth.
Okay, this first one, and this is a big topic. So Matt, maybe this is something that you and I can really focus on sometime in the future and give it its own topic, but communicate your value proposition. And here what I mean is you need to be very clear on why you're referral worthy. If someone's going to go out on a limb and refer your business, your service to them, why should they? What makes you referral worthy? What do you do that others don't? Right. So again, that's a big, big topic, right? We can talk about that for a long time.
Yeah.
But action item as you're listening to this is start thinking about what makes you referral worthy.
Right.
To expand on that is not only you, but I like to have everyone on your team, everyone in the company, be able to articulate the same answer word for word. What does your company do? What do you do? Because Matt, you mentioned that, current customers are a great source of referrals, but there's also a network of other businesses that can refer as well, especially to to installers. You've got home builders and roofers and electricians and fence builders and landscapers. Everyone that works around a house is a possible source of new business for referrals. And one
Right.
story that I really, really like about this that really hit home for me is, again, when I was working with software resellers, one of the top tier resellers that we had, President's Club installer, I asked her, what are your best sources of new business? And her answer, I'll never forget. She said, David, you'd be surprised to know that our best lead generation is our UPS driver.
Wow.
Which, yeah, how does that work? You sell ERP accounting software. How is your UPS driver? And she was being sincere. And she said, well, we realize that our UPS driver knows us in every single business in its route. So because every single person on our team, doesn't matter who you ask, what do you guys do? They'll say the same answer word for word. And she said, I'll be damned. The UPS driver came in one day to pick up packages. The gal, the receptionist at the front, was finished taping up a box. The UPS driver, looking around the office, said, what do you guys do here anyway? And that receptionist said in a way that, her answer wasn't, well, we sell high-end ERP accounting software. But she said it, she was able to explain what they did. So a UPS driver got it. I like to say it's my mom test. If I can explain things so my mom gets it, I've won. If not, I need to rethink things. And then the UPS driver, as he's going on his route, talking to all these other businesses, what do you guys do? Just in small talk, he says, you know what? These guys down the road sell accounting, or they do accounting solutions. Whatever now he articulated was the original company did, is other companies go, I never knew that. Whether they were in a business park or whatever they did, but that generated more business than anything else just because of their receptionist was able to articulate what that company did. So I encourage solar installers to do the same thing. Everyone in your company, whether they're on the roof, answering phones, doing sales, support, whatever, is be able to articulate what your company does so a UPS driver or your mom can get it.
Right. I mean, in a world where, solar is primed for a boom, right? And I think everyone's going to be trying to get their hands on installations, whether it's, roofers who want to expand, subcontractors, et cetera. If you want to enter the market, like what makes you actually unique? Because there's, for every business, there's 10 others that are claiming to have a premium product, or maybe it doesn't even have to be a premium approach, but what is your value proposition? And then that helps kind of drive who your customers are going to be. And then I really love that explain it to your mom thing. I posted something on LinkedIn the other day. Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old, right? Make it really, really simple to understand. That's a great way to get people on board. If you can explain it and then, have someone regurgitate it to you, you are definitely on track to make, memorable sales and marketing messaging with your customers.
Absolutely. If you can explain how solar works, what an inverter does to a 5-year-old and they get it, you've won.
Right. All right. Moving on to the next slide.
Yeah. Okay. So next is get clear on who makes a good referral, because not everyone is a customer, right? I mean, anytime you say, hey, we're looking for referrals, if you know anyone, send them my way, you'll always get the polite head nod, but it doesn't turn into much. So you need to give them a target of what you're looking for. And here, be as descriptive as possible. I even like to mix it up a little bit. And as you're doing, you're wrapping up installs, you're talking to people about what you do, and everyone's interested. Well, a lot of people are interested in solar, but again, give them a target. This month, we're looking for families with kids about to enter high school. It gives them a specific target. Or kids, junior high and high school, whatever that target is, it just gives them something to shoot for rather than that blank, hey, we're looking for referrals. If you know anyone, send them my way. I think you'll find that focus will just help so much more in getting not only referrals to you, but the right kind of referrals.
Right. It's almost like paralysis of choice. If you just tell them to give you a referral, they're going to be like, I don't really know who I would send. If you're giving them some specific targets, everyone's going to be like, hey, I know someone who could fill that. So definitely helps to be specific in this case.
So good. I like that. The paralysis of choice. Give people too many options, they do nothing, right?
Right. Yep. Moving on to slide 3.
Okay, so here, and this is interesting. I love talking about this. Is what's your referral offer? And I've talked to a lot of installers who have pretty elaborate referral systems. Whether it's something like $100 for every referral you send, which is pretty attractive, right? Or $500 for every closed deal. And even then, if it's $500, a lot of installers are like, you know what? I'll pay that all day long. I would spend a lot more than that in my own lead generation efforts. Or I've also seen an installer who has a percentage of the deal if it closes, and they have it mapped out on their website. Here's our referral system. And just to use a number, our typical sale is $10,000, which means X to you for a referral. And then it goes from there. But if a deal ends up to be $15,000, you get X plus, right? Or $20,000, and it maps out, and it looks to be a lot of money, which is great. But do they work? Is kind of the conversation I like to have. Some installers say, yeah, it works like a charm. Others like, yeah, you know what? It doesn't. Well, one thing, if you do something like that, what I found helps is to turn it into a game. The gamification of things like this really helps. Challenge your existing customers. Hey, we build our business through referrals. If you refer someone, we give you $500 for a deal, again, just to choose a number. If it closes, if you keep at it, you can have your whole PV system paid off in a year or 2 years. So make it a game, make it something that they can shoot for. I want to see if you can pay for your entire system just by referrals,
Right.
which helps. Okay. Now on the flip side of that, does it even work? Are they enticed by a referral bounty or reward? I don't know that they are. I think it's part of human nature that people want to help. And especially with solar, when someone gets their system, they're excited. They got their app showing how much, how many trees they've saved, all that wonderful stuff. They're going to share it with their neighbors. But I don't know if having a reward actually helps. I think if you have it out there, this is what we're looking for, that'll be really great. But I don't know that you need to, some people get offended by, what, I want to send people to you because you did an awesome job. You did exactly what you promised. I don't want to be paid for it.
Right.
So I think it's something that installers can play around with. One thing I do know that helps is small things like a handwritten note. People really appreciate a small gift card, something to acknowledge that you appreciate what they've done. But I don't think that you need to give this have an elaborate reward system or bounty system. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you bring up 2 really good points here, because obviously once you start dealing with bigger numbers, it's almost as if you're turning your customer into an advocate or almost like a salesperson, right? So that can get convoluted, because if you're telling someone, yeah, you can have your whole PV system paid off, they're gonna, if it's the right person, they're gonna be very motivated to get referrals in, no matter the cost, right? So sometimes that can backfire and cause maybe a little bit of inauthentic type of passing off of leads to you. I agree on the latter, right? Like if you're asking for a referral and not giving them some huge, big amount of money, then it really matters, right? Because if I'm getting solar installed on my house and I had a great experience with you, and you're saying, hey, you give me a very specific referral type persona, and I'm like, yeah, I would love to. Then it feels really authentic for me to go to my friend and say, hey, I had a really great experience with XYZ Solar. I know you're looking into it. I would at least consider them and, tell Jim I said hi type of thing. It feels personable. And if they do go forward and you get a lead from that customer, then it's a great opportunity, right? Send a handwritten letter, give them a little Amazon gift card or something like that to just sweeten the deal and say, we really appreciate that referral, because it's basically free marketing, which you can't really argue with.
Yep. Agreed.
Great. So moving on to number 4, back to you, Dave.
Yeah. So this is just keeping in touch with those people that if they didn't buy now, if they were referred to you, you had a great conversation, you had that dining room conversation with the family, they're not ready to buy, fair enough. But don't ignore these folks, which I think a lot of businesses do. Is whether they're hot leads or warm leads, is a lot of leads tend to get ignored. And here is just a reminder not to stay in touch with them. I like to ask permission. If you're not ready now, hey, no problem at all. But just so you know, modules, they're always getting more efficient. PV and battery costs continue to come down. If I promise not to be a pest, can I keep in touch with you and just let you know what's going on in the industry, let you know of any updates, anything that we can, any questions that you have that we can answer? I think just by keeping in contact with those folks, eventually a good percentage of them will become customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you think about the marketing funnel, right? It's not just a one touch point thing, right? And I mean, sometimes it is. And in that case, it's the best case scenario, but you can probably speak to this as well as I. When we're looking for customers, no matter the industry, whatever the first introduction to your customer is, whether that's through a referral or organic advertising or paid advertising or a trade show, that's one touch point of many before they purchase. So think about the referral as an introduction, not necessarily a closed one, right? Just an introduction, right? You have their information now. You have them in your ecosystem. Now it's time to, if they're not ready to purchase right away, how do you bring value to them? And now we're talking a little bit more about inbound marketing. But what kind of emails can you send that keep them up to date, like you said, on prices of inverters and what's going on in the industry? Because then you're going to start to build a real relationship with this person. So we know that it's going to take a couple of touch points to maybe get them to purchase. Maybe they're not ready right now. It doesn't mean that you can't, they're not going to circle back in 3 months, or something could change. So it's super, super important to stay in front of them and continue that drumbeat of not necessarily trying to hard sell them anymore, but continue to talk to them about your company, the industry, how they're doing, types of things like that will really go a long, long way.
Absolutely. As long as you're adding value, it's all good.
Yep. Okay, moving on to number 5 and the last one.
Yeah. So the last, and I think this is really important and often overlooked, is closing that loop. You got to close the loop with the referrer. They've went out on a limb to send their neighbor, their family member, whomever, over to you for a quote, for some information on a PV system. That person's extremely valuable. Keep them in the loop to that person they referred. This can be a simple call or an email with a quick update. Hey, I just spoke to the Smith family. Great conversation. Thank you so much for the lead, right? That's all it is. And as your conversations with the Smith family go, is keep that refer up to date. Things continue. Another great conversation, new update. Hey, you know what? Their PV system's installed. They're loving it. Thank you once again. Again, just to keep them up to date, I think helps that referrer feel a little more comfort on their referral, right? And entice them to do it again.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, if you think about the psychology of a referral, right? They're making a recommendation to a friend in order to build trust with their friend and hopefully provide value to their life. And they don't want, honestly, to just feel kind of thrown out of the loop, for lack of better words. They want to stay kind of, in touch with that process, because it was very obviously it was very important to them to make that referral.
Yep.
Awesome. So that's the last of our tips, but we have a couple additional strategies to talk through here.
Yeah, just some other quick tips here is I think you're going to find it extremely helpful if you give referrals. It's that saying, you get what you give. And this can be with customers that you've installed for. Get to know them. What's their business? What work are they in? Is there any opportunity that you can refer business to them? Or earlier in this conversation, Matt, I mentioned things like roofers and fencers and landscape people. Get to know them in your community. And as you're on a roof, you see someone with a down fence. Hey, you know what? I got this great company. If you're looking for someone trustworthy, I got a fence guy for you, or I got a landscape company for you to take advantage of. Is keep those in your back pocket and give referrals. I think you'll be amazed at what you get back just by being involved in getting to know your customers and also existing complementary businesses. So yeah, you get what you give referrals, and I think you'll get some back.
Yeah, it's almost as if, don't mean to cut you off, but if you're going to give business referrals from a complementary business, and they're going to do the same for you, it's as if it's like this business to business type of referral where they have their customer base, and in a way you're also leveraging the trust that they've built with their customer base as another trusted company. So a great way to kind of continue to build that referral marketing capacity.
Yep. And this last one, I get some funny looks from installers when talking to them about this, but here is basically referrals being an expectation of doing business with you. And here, Matt, the conversation is something like, you're at the dining room table, you've just signed all the contracts, the homeowner is excited, right? The conversation is, okay, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, you are going to love this system so much. It's gonna generate this amount. It's gonna do exactly what we say. You know what? You're gonna love this so much. You're gonna love us so much. You're gonna refer, I don't know, 3 people to us in the next 4 months. It's just how things work. And I think the installer will find that the homeowner or the customer will either be scratching their head thinking, either this person is cocky as hell or they know what they're doing. And either way, it's like, okay, wow, okay, if you're saying that, you better live up to it. And then 3 months, if they don't already send you those referrals, hopefully you're checking back with your customers. You're watching their system on your app as well. You can check back with them after that 3 months, say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I see the system's been operating flawlessly. What do you think? Are you seeing a difference in your energy bills? Great. Now, if you remember, we were talking about people that you may know that you can send my way that I can do the same for. This month we're focusing on families with kids in and around the high school age, anyone that you know that we can talk with. And because you planted that seed 3 months earlier, it'll come back. Oh yeah, that's right. And yes, the system is operating exactly like you said. Yes, I did have my neighbors ask. So yeah, the Jones family, I think would be great for you to talk to. Let me give them your number. I think you find just by planting that seed with people, it'll come back to you. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a bold move to upfront say, I think that you're going to end up referring 3 people to us. But if you trust in your own process and the services and products that you provide, then it's exactly what you should be doing. Because if you're an installer and you're proud of your work, you should be beating your own chest, right? You don't have to be meek and humble about your work if you believe in it. So definitely believe that could go really far with customers.
Without a doubt.
So I know that's it for these points. One thing I just wanted to add, and honestly just reiterate on is, marketing is not, obviously there's so many different channels in marketing. And the reason we kicked it off with referrals is because it's low cost. It's really easy, and it's easy to bake into your already functioning sales process, right? Make it a part of every closed won deal. You ask for referrals. Hey, do you know someone who could benefit that is, this type of persona? And that's enough to get the ball rolling, where you don't have to make a ton of investment, and you can just retrofit it to your process already. That's the only kind of point I wanted to add there. What about yourself?
Yeah, it's a great point. This is just one vehicle that they call it a marketing mix for a reason. There's no one silver bullet in marketing, but if you can incorporate this into the mix, I think you'll find really good results.
Yeah, absolutely. Any last points aside from that? I know obviously, we talked a lot about marketing in general. I think there's an opportunity to hop back on here and talk through some of these other marketing channels, marketing mix that you talked about, but any last thoughts?
Any last thoughts? I just the psychology of all this and how it works. And, this is one of the things that really drew me to marketing in the first place, is how people behave and what attracts them, what turns them off. So yeah, referrals is definitely a big part of that, but man, it can be pretty darn simple and not nearly as difficult as people think when you ask them, what are you doing to get more?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Marketing is a mix of, art and science, and the science part is pretty easy to learn. The art part is kind of where talking to your customers and really understanding them really will go kind of, get you worlds ahead.
Yep.
All right. Well, David, I really appreciate you hopping on today. I think we had a lot of great takeaways, and we will have the actual slide deck downloadable on the blog that we post with this. So again, thanks a lot, David, and have a great day.
Thank you, Matt. Nice talking with you.
You too.
Bye.